Hannah Kang pulled her cargo ship into the docking bay of Kepler 442 Mayan colony. The lights were wrong. Usually, the colony glowed bright and welcoming. Today, it looked dim and scared. She stepped off her ship and felt the fear in the air. People moved quickly with their heads down. Nobody made eye contact. Hannah had seen this before on other colonies. It meant someone dangerous was here. She saw them near the main plaza. Rakish soldiers. Tall reptilian warriors in dark armor. Their scales caught the station lights as they moved through the crowd. The Rakish Empire was powerful and proud. They valued honor above everything else. They also did not like humans very much. Hannah kept her head down and walked toward the supply depot. She needed fuel and food, then she would leave. She did not want trouble. All residents report to Central Processing, a Rakish officer announced through speakers. His voice was cold and harsh. This colony is under inspection for contamination. Contamination. Hannah knew what that meant. The Rakish thought any colony where their people lived with humans was dirty. They called it mixed species contamination. Sometimes they just cleared everyone out. She saw families being pulled from their homes. Human families. A few Rakish families too. The lower caste ones who had chosen to live peacefully here. The Empire did not forgive that choice. Hannah should have left. She knew she should have gone back to her ship. But then she heard it, a crying sound, high-pitched and scared. It came from a small dwelling marked with a red symbol. The symbol meant the building was scheduled for cleansing. Everyone inside was already gone, but someone was still crying inside. Hannah looked around. The soldiers were busy with other buildings. Nobody watched this one anymore. She slipped through the door. The dwelling was small and simple. Furniture was knocked over. Personal items scattered on the floor. Someone had left in a hurry. Or been taken. The crying came from a back room. Hannah pushed the door open slowly. Her heart beat fast in her chest. Three small shapes huddled in the corner. Babies. Rakish babies. Their scales were soft and not fully hardened yet. They could not have been more than a few weeks old. They cried and shook with fear. Hannah knew the rules. Cubs born to defectors were killed. The Rakish Empire believed it maintained honor. Getting rid of the bloodline that had brought shame, these three tiny creatures would be executed. Nobody would stop it. Nobody would care. The cubs looked at her with wide eyes. They were so small, so helpless. Hannah made a choice. Maybe it was stupid. Maybe it would get her killed. But she could not walk away from crying babies. She unzipped her oversized hoodie and scooped them up. All three fit against her chest. They were cold. Their species needed warmth. It pressed against her body heat, and their crying stopped. Tiny claws pricked through her shirt, but she did not care. She zipped the hoodie back up carefully. Three small heads poked out near her collar. She pulled her hood up and walked back outside. Her heart hammered. Her hands shook. She walked past groups of people being questioned. Past soldiers checking identification papers. One soldier looked right at her. "You, stop." Hannah froze. The cubs stayed quiet against her warmth. She could feel their tiny hearts beating fast. "Identification?" the soldier demanded. She handed over her papers with a steady hand. Inside her hoodie, one cub made a small sound. She coughed loudly to cover it. The soldier looked at her papers, looked at her face. His eyes were cold and reptilian. She could not read his expression. "Cargo hauler." "Why are you here?" "Fuel stop." "I have clearance for the depot." He stared at her for a long moment. The cub shifted against her chest. "Please stay quiet," she thought. "Please." The soldier handed back her papers. "Get your fuel and leave. This colony is closed." "Yes, sir." She walked away. Not too fast. Not too slow. Every step felt like a year. The cubs stayed pressed against her warmth, sensing her fear. She reached her ship, the Serendipity. Her hand shook so badly she could barely work the controls. The door slid open. She climbed inside. As soon as the door closed behind her, she let out a breath. The cubs started crying again. Hungry, cold, scared. Hana carefully took them out of her hoodie. 3 pairs of golden eyes looked up at her. Tiny claws gripped her fingers. They were so small. Smaller than human babies. Fragile. What did I just do? She whispered. One of the cubs made a soft chirping sound. It reached its tiny paw toward her face. Hana started the ship's engines. The Serendipity lifted off from the colony. As they cleared the docking bay, she saw the rakish ships surrounding the station. Big military vessels. This was not just an inspection. This was a purge. She had saved 3 lives today. But she had also made herself an enemy of the rakish empire. The cubs curled up together on her co-pilot seat, seeking warmth. She grabbed her emergency thermal blanket and wrapped them gently. They snuggled into it, and their eyes closed. Hana set course for the nearest human outpost. Someone there would help. Someone would know what to do. She looked at the 3 tiny creatures sleeping on her chair. They looked peaceful now. Safe. I will protect you, she promised them quietly. I do not know how, but I will. Behind her ship, the colony lights went dark. The cubs would not stop crying. Hana tried everything. She wrapped them in blankets. She held them close. Nothing worked. They were cold. Their species needed heat to survive. She checked her ship's systems and found the emergency heating pads under the medical supplies. She set up 3 pads on the co-pilot seat and placed the cubs on them. They stopped shaking, but still cried. Hungry. They were hungry. Hana had no idea what rakish babies ate. She crushed up protein bars and mixed them with water to make a paste. She tried to feed them with her fingers. The smallest cub licked at the paste. Then the other 2 tried it. They ate slowly. After a while, their bellies looked fuller and they fell asleep. Hana sat back in her pilot chair and rubbed her face. What had she gotten herself into? She needed to name them. She could not just keep calling them the cubs. She looked at them sleeping peacefully under the warm lights. The biggest one she named Dal. It meant moon. He had silver patches on his scales. The middle one she named Bull. It meant star. She had bright golden eyes that sparkled. The smallest one she named Haniel. It meant sky. His scales were the lightest blue she had ever seen. Dal, Beal, and Haniel. Her 3 impossible children. The communication system beeped. Incoming message. Hana's stomach dropped. She answered it. This is Border Control Station Artemis. State your business. Hana explained everything. The colony. The rakish raid. The cubs she found. She thought they would help. She thought someone would care. The officer on the screen looked uncomfortable. Ma'am, you need to return those cubs to rakish custody immediately. They will kill them. That is an internal rakish matter. We cannot interfere. They are babies. Ma'am, the rakish empire has issued an official demand. If you do not comply, it could start a war. We are ordering you to turn them over at the nearest imperial checkpoint. The screen went dark. Hana stared at the blank display. Her hands clenched into fists. She looked back at the cubs. Dal yawned in his sleep. Buell curled closer to her brothers for warmth. Nobody would help. The human government was too scared of the rakish empire. They would sacrifice 3 innocent lives to avoid conflict. Another message came through. This one was different. No official seal. Just text. I saw your transmission. I can help. Meet me at Way Station Echo. Come along. Tay, it could be a trap. It probably was a trap. But Hana was out of options. She changed course and headed for Way Station Echo. It took 2 days to get there. During that time, she learned how to care for the cubs. They needed heat, food every few hours, and surprisingly, they needed touch. When she held them, they calmed down. When she put them down, they cried. So she carried them in her hoodie. All 3 fit inside against her chest. They slept there, warm and safe. She could feel their tiny hearts beating. Sometimes they made small chirping sounds in their sleep. Way Station Echo was a rough place. Smugglers, pirates, and people avoiding questions came here. Hana docked her ship and kept the cubs hidden in her hoodie. She pulled the hood up and walked into the station. A man waited at a corner table in the cantina. He was young, maybe 30, with tired eyes and quick hands. He waved her over. "You must be Hana. I am Tae-yoon." He looked at her hoodie. "Are they in there?" "Yes. Can I see them?" Hana unzipped her hoodie slightly. 3 small heads poked out. Dao chirped at Tae. Pial blinked her golden eyes. Tae's expression softened. "They are so small. Can you help us?" Tae ordered drinks and spoke quietly. "I run a network. We help refugees, people who need to disappear. I heard about the Kepler 442 raid. I also heard about you stealing 3 Vrakish cubs. I did not steal them. I saved them. The Vrakish Empire does not see it that way. Do you know who those cubs are?" Hana shook her head. Their parent was named Seok. He was lower caste Vrakish. He fell in love with a human woman on that colony. The Empire considers that the worst dishonor. Seok was killed in the raid. The human woman, too. The cubs were supposed to be executed. I know. But there is more. Seok was the younger sibling of Chief Kethril. Do you know that name? Hana felt cold. Everyone knew that name. Chief Kethril of the Imperial Guard. He had never failed a mission, never shown mercy. He was the most feared warrior in the Vrakish military. "Chief Kethril is hunting you personally," Tae said. "He is bound by honor to recover the cubs and execute them. He is also their uncle." Hana looked down at the 3 tiny cubs in her hoodie. They were family to the most dangerous Vrakish alive. And he was coming to kill them. "What do I do?" She whispered. "You run. You keep running. I have contacts who can help you disappear. But Hana, you need to understand something. If you do this, you can never go home. You will be a fugitive forever. Those cubs will be hunted their whole lives." Hana thought about it. She could turn them over. Save herself. Go back to her normal life. Dal made a small sound in his sleep. His tiny paw gripped her shirt. Biol snuggled closer. Haniel opened one eye and looked at her with complete trust. "I cannot give them up," Hana said. "Tell me where to go." Tae nodded like he expected that answer. "You have guts. Stupid guts, but guts." He slid a data chip across the table. "These are safe routes. Stations that will not ask questions. People who will help. Stay off the main channels. Disable your ship's beacon. Kethril is smart. He will find patterns. You need to be unpredictable. Thank you. Do not thank me yet. Kethril has never failed a hunt. You are just making his job harder. Not impossible." Hana took the data chip and left the cantina. As she walked back to her ship, she felt eyes watching her. The station was full of people who would sell information for credits. She needed to leave. Now, back on the Serendipity. She disabled the tracking beacon and programmed the first safe coordinates from Tae's chip. The cubs woke up hungry. She fed them their protein paste, and they chirped happily. "We are going on an adventure," she told them softly. "It will be dangerous, but I promise I will keep you safe." Dal reached his tiny paw toward her face. She let him touch her cheek. His scales were getting harder now. He was growing. The ship jumped to hyperspace. Behind them, somewhere in the dark, Chief Kethril was coming. 3 weeks passed. Hannah moved from station to station, never staying long. The cubs grew quickly. Dal was now the size of a human toddler. Buell was close behind. Haniel was still the smallest, but he was smart and learned fast. They were talking now. Small words. Mama was their first word. It broke Hannah's heart every time they said it. She taught them human words and rakish words from the language files on her ship. They were quick learners. Dal liked to repeat everything she said. Bull asked questions constantly. Haniel just watched and listened. They still slept in her hoodie at night. Even though they were getting too big, they felt safe there. Hannah stopped at a fuel depot called Frontier's End. It was far from everything. Safe, she hoped. While the ship refueled, she let the cubs stretch their legs in the cargo bay. They played chase and made happy chirping sounds. A message came through. From Tay, Hannah, bad news. Kethril captured one of our people. Maya, your engineer friend from the Artemis station. He is questioning her. I am sorry. Hannah felt sick. Mina was a good person. She did not deserve this. Another message appeared. This one was not from Tay. It was a video. Chief Kethril filled the screen. He was massive. His scales were dark green and covered in scars from battles. His eyes were like ice. He stood in what looked like an interrogation room. Mina sat across from him. She looked scared, but she held her head up. Tell me about the human Hannah Kang. Kethril's voice was deep and cold. I do not know much about her. She comes through sometimes for repairs. She transmitted a message from border control. You were the receiving officer. What did she say? Mina was quiet for a moment. Then she spoke clearly. She said she found 3 rakish cubs, that they were going to be killed. She asked for help protecting them. And what did you tell her? I told her to hand them over. Those were my orders. But you did not believe that was right. Mina looked directly at Kethril. No, I did not. They are babies. Killing babies is not honorable. It is cruel. Kethril stared at her. The cubs are abominations, products of dishonor. Their existence shames my bloodline. They did not choose to be born. They are innocent. Where is Hannah Kang now? I do not know. You are lying. I am not. She went dark after that transmission. But Chief Kethril, I will tell you something. Hannah Kang is a good person. She saves those cubs because nobody else would. That is what humans do. We protect the helpless, even when it is dangerous, even when it is stupid. We cannot walk away from someone who needs help. Kethril was silent for a long moment. That is a weakness, maybe, but it is also our strength. The video ended. Hannah wiped her eyes. Mina had been brave. She hoped Kethril would let her go. The cubs noticed she was upset. They climbed into her lap. All 3 of them. They were getting heavy. Mama sad? Dal asked. A little. But I am okay. We'd protect Mama, Buell said firmly. Hannah laughed and hugged them. Yes, we protect each other. Days passed. Hannah kept moving. But she was running out of safe places. The network Tay had given her was being shut down. Kethril was systematic. He found each safe house, each contact. He closed every escape route. Then a message came through. It looked official. From a place called Haven's Rest Sanctuary. They specialized in protecting refugees from all species. We have heard about your situation. We can provide permanent shelter for the cubs. Safe. Hidden. They will be protected. Send coordinates for pickup. It was the answer to everything. A real home for Dal, Bial, and Haniel. Somewhere they could grow up safe, but something felt wrong. Hana checked the message 3 times. She ran it through every security program on her ship. It came back clean. But her instincts screamed at her. She called, Tay. I got a message from Haven's Rest Sanctuary. Do you know them? Tay was quiet. Too quiet. Hana, that place does not exist. It is a fake. Someone set up that message to lure you. Catherall. Probably. He knows you are desperate. He knows you are looking for a home for those cubs. He's using that against you. Hana should have run. She should have turned around and gone the opposite direction. But she was tired. She had been running for weeks. The cubs needed a real home. They needed stability. And deep down, she knew she could not run forever. Eventually, Catherall would catch her. Maybe it was better to face him now. I am going to meet him, Hana said. What? That is insane. He will keep hunting us. He will keep hurting people like Mina. Maybe I can reason with him. Make him understand. Hana, he is a rakish chief. He does not reason. He follows orders and honor codes. You cannot change his mind. I have to try. She ended the call. The cubs watched her with worried eyes. We are going to meet someone, she told them gently. Someone very important. I need you to be brave. Can you do that? Dal nodded seriously. Buell grabbed her hand. Haniel just looked at her with those trusting eyes. Whatever happens, I want you to know something. I love you. All 3 of you. You are my family now. Love, Mama, they said together. Hana set course for the coordinates from the fake sanctuary. Her hands were steady. She was scared but also ready. One way or another, this would end today. The serendipity dropped out of hyperspace near a small asteroid. A massive rakish warship waited there. It was 10 times the size of her cargo hauler. Weapons powered up. Locked on target. A voice came through the communication system. Deep, cold, unmistakable. Anakang, power down your engines. Prepare to be boarded. Do not resist or you will be destroyed. Chief Catherall had found them. Hana looked at the cubs. They huddled together on the co-pilot seat. Scared but trying to be brave like she asked. It is okay, she whispered. I will not let him hurt you. She powered down the engines. The boarding tube connected to her ship. Heavy footsteps echoed in the corridor. Hana stood up. She unzipped her hoodie and gathered the 3 cubs against her chest. Their tiny claws gripped the fabric. Dal, Bial, and Haniel pressed close to her heart. The airlock door opened. Chief Catherall stepped into her ship. He had to duck under the doorway. He was covered in armor, battle-scarred, terrifying. His cold eyes found hers. Then dropped to the cubs in her hoodie. For the first time in weeks, Hana and the cubs stood face to face with the warrior who had hunted them across the galaxy. You are under arrest, Catherall said. His voice made the walls vibrate. Surrender the cubs. Hana stood her ground even though her legs shook. Chief Catherall filled her small cargo ship. 4 more of rakish warriors stood behind him. All armed, all ready to kill. The cubs pressed tighter against her chest. She could feel their hearts racing. But they did not cry. They were being brave like she asked. I said surrender the cubs, Catherall repeated. His voice was like grinding stone. No, Hana said quietly. The warriors behind Catherall shifted. Hands moved to weapons. Nobody told a chief no. Especially not a small human woman. Catherall stepped closer. Hana forced herself not to step back. She tilted her head up to meet his eyes. He studied her face. Looking for fear, maybe. He would find it. But he would also find something else. Determination. You are either very brave or very stupid, Catherall said. Probably both, Hana admitted. But I am not giving them to you. They are property of the Rakish Empire. You have stolen them. I saved them. There's a difference. Catherall's eyes narrowed. You know what they are. Products of dishonor. My younger sibling betrayed our caste, mated with a human, created these abominations. The law is clear. The bloodline must be ended. They are children, not abominations. Look at them. Catherall's eyes dropped to her hoodie. 3 small heads poked out near her collar. Dal looked at the big warrior with wide eyes. Beale made a small scared sound. Haniel just stared. I have seen them, Catherall said. That changes nothing. Really? Look again. Hannah slowly unzipped her hoodie more. The cubs clung to the fabric. Their tiny paws lifted up, gripping the edges. They were bigger now than when she first found them, but still so small. Still babies. Dal recognized something in Catherall's face. His scales. His eyes. Something familiar. Uncle? Dal said in Vrakesta. Catherall froze. His warriors looked at each other, uncomfortable. The chief's expression did not change, but something flickered in his eyes. They know who you are, Hannah said softly. I taught them about their family, about their father Siok, about you. I did not lie to them. They know their father died. They know their mother died. But I told them they had an uncle who was a great warrior. Be silent, Catherall said. But his voice was quieter now. You asked who took the cubs, Hannah continued. The answer is I did. I took them from that colony. I saved them from being executed. I fed them, kept them warm, taught them to speak. I did all of this because nobody else would. Why? Catherall demanded. They are not your species, not your responsibility. You gain nothing from this. You lose everything. Why would you do this? Hannah looked down at the 3 cubs in her arms. Dal had stopped being scared. He reached a tiny paw toward Catherall. Curious now. Beale watched the big warrior carefully. Haniel made a small chirping sound. Because they were crying, Hannah said. Because they were alone and scared. Because they were babies who did nothing wrong. I could not walk away from that. That is illogical, emotional, weak. Maybe, but it is what makes us human. We protect those who cannot protect themselves. Even when it costs us everything. Even when it makes no sense. Catherall stared at her. You speak of honor, but you understand nothing. In my culture, honor is everything. My sibling dishonored our family. The cubs are that dishonor made flesh. Allowing them to live continues the shame. No, Hannah said firmly. Killing innocent children is not honorable. It is cruel. Your sibling fell in love. That is not shameful. Creating life is not shameful. What is shameful is destroying that life because of pride. One of the warriors stepped forward. Chief, she insults you. Let me silence her. Catherall raised a hand. The warrior stopped. You dare judge Vrakish honor? Catherall asked Hannah. I dare to say what I see. You are hunting your own family. Your brother's children. Your blood. Because some old law says you must. That is not honor. That is just following orders without thinking. The temperature in the room dropped. Hannah knew she had pushed too far, but she could not stop now. Look at them, she begged. Really, look at them. Dal has your sibling's eyes. Beale has his courage. Haniel has his intelligence. They are all that remains of Siok. If you killed him, your brother truly dies. Everything he was disappears forever. Catherall was quiet. His eyes were locked on the cubs. Dal still reached toward him. The tiny cub did not know to be afraid. He just knew this was family. Mama says you are a strong warrior, Dal said in broken Vrakish. Mama says you protect people. Mama says you are honorable, Beale added. Haniel just kept staring at Catherall with those trusting eyes. Something cracked in Catherall's expression. Just for a second. Hannah saw it. Pain, grief, conflict. My orders are clear, Kethril said slowly. Return the cubs to rakish custody. Execute them. End the dishonored bloodline. And you always follow orders, Hannah said. Always. Even when they are wrong? Kethril's jaw tightened. That is not for me to decide. Yes, it is. You are chief. You have power. You can make a different choice. There is no other choice. There is always another choice. They stood there, human and rakish, staring at each other. Between them, 3 small cubs who just wanted to live. Kethril knelt down slowly. He was still massive, even kneeling. He looked at the cubs at eye level. Dull reached out and touched the chief's scarred hand with one tiny paw. Do you know what I see when I look at you? Kethril asked the cubs softly. They shook their heads. I see my sibling. I see Siok. We grew up together. Trained together. He was the only one who ever beat me in combat practice. He was brave, smart, kind. Kethril's voice was rough. I loved him. When he chose to leave our caste, I was angry. When he died, I was devastated. The law said I must hunt you. Must end you. But you are all I have left of him. Uncle, Buyul said gently. Kethril closed his eyes. When he opened them again, something had changed. Some decision had been made. He stood up and faced his warriors. You heard nothing here. Understood? The warriors looked confused. Chief? The human escaped. The cubs were never here. We found only an empty ship. Is that clear? The warriors stared. One of them said, Chief, that is disobeying direct orders from the Empire. It is, I know what it is, Kethril said coldly. And I am ordering you to say the cubs were not here. Will you obey your chief or will you challenge me? Nobody challenged Chief Kethril. The warriors bowed their heads. Yes, Chief. Kethril turned back to Hannah. She was crying now. Relief, joy, disbelief. Take them far from here, Kethril said. There is a world at these coordinates. He transferred data to her ship. It is hidden. A place where refugees go. Mixed species, defectors, those who do not fit in their own societies. You will be safe there. Thank you, Hannah whispered. Do not thank me. I am sending you into exile. The cubs can never return to rakish space. They will be outcasts forever. I will make sure they have a good life anyway. Kethril knelt again and looked at the cubs. Grow strong. Learn both ways. Human and rakish. Make your father proud. Will we see you again? Dal asked. Kethril was quiet. Perhaps, someday. He stood and walked toward the airlock. His warriors followed. At the door, he paused. Hannah Khan, you showed me something today. That perhaps strength is not only in following tradition. Sometimes it is in choosing a different path. Then he was gone. The coordinates Kethril gave them led to a world with no name on any map. Just a string of numbers. When Hannah's ship came out of hyperspace, she saw the most beautiful planet she had ever seen. Green forests, blue oceans, white clouds. It looked like Earth in the old pictures. A signal came through. Welcome to Haven. Please state your business. I have 3 refugees. We were told this was a safe place. Who sent you? Hannah hesitated. Chief Kethril. There was a long pause. Then, permission granted. Welcome home. Hannah landed the serendipity in a valley surrounded by mountains. A small town spread out below. She saw buildings in different styles. Human architecture next to rakish structures. Other designs she did not recognize. People came to greet her. Humans rakish, other species. A human woman named Yunji welcomed them with a warm smile. A rakish elder named Quan bowed respectfully. They helped Hannah unload her few belongings. The cubs were nervous at first. So many new people. But when they saw other young Vrakish playing in the streets, their eyes went wide with excitement. Others like us? Beale asked. Yes, Hana said. Lots of others like you. They found a small house on the edge of town. It had a big yard where the cubs could play. Hannah hung her old hoodie by the door. The fabric was worn now. Tiny claw marks covered it from weeks of carrying 3 growing cubs. But it was precious to her. A reminder of where they started. Tay arrived 3 days later with Mina. Kethril had released her unharmed. She hugged Hana tight. I heard what you did, Mina said. You are insane. But I am proud of you. I could not have done it without you speaking up for me. Tay helped them settle in. He brought supplies and introduced them to the community. This place is special, he explained. It was founded by people who believed different species could live together. No castes, no old rules. Just people trying to make a better life. The cubs grew fast. Within a year, they were the size of human teenagers. They attended the local school where they learned history, science, and languages from teachers of many species. Dal became strong and athletic. He trained in combat with the Vrakish elders, but also learned human sports. He had his father's warrior spirit, but also his kindness. Dio loved medicine. She studied under both human and Vrakish doctors. She wanted to help people. All people. No matter what species they were. Haniel was quiet but brilliant. He studied diplomacy and languages. He could speak 5 languages fluently by the time he was 2 years old. A human diplomat named Soong-jae took him under his wing. Your son has a gift, Soong-jae told Hannah one day. He understands people, sees connections others miss. He could be a great bridge between species someday. He is not my son, Hannah said. Then she smiled. Well, not biologically. But yes, I suppose he is. Years passed peacefully. The cubs became young adults. They still called Hannah Mama, even though they towered over her now. They still remember being small enough to fit in her HOODIE. Then one day, a ship arrived. A small Vrakish vessel, unmarked. Hannah's heart raced as she watched it land. Chief Kethril stepped out. He looked older. More scars. Tired eyes. But he stood as tall as ever. Dal, Val, and Haniel ran to him. They were almost as big as he was now. They greeted him with human hugs and Vrakish honor clicks. Kethril stood stiff at first. Then slowly, carefully, he hugged them back. Uncle, they said happily. You have grown, Kethril said. His voice was rough with emotion. Hannah walked over slowly. Kethril bowed to her. Actually bowed. A Vrakish chief bowing to a human. Thank you, he said simply. For keeping them safe. For raising them well. They make it easy, Hannah said. They are good kids. Kethril stayed for 3 days. He watched Dal train. He discussed medicine with Boyle. He talked politics with Haniel. He saw what they had become. Not just Vrakish. Not just influenced by humans. Something new. Something better. On the last night, he sat with Hannah on her porch. The cubs were inside, laughing and talking with Tay and Mina. I need to tell you something, Kethril said. What I did that day, letting you go, it created waves in the Empire. Some called me honorless, but others whispered that maybe the old ways needed to change. What do you mean? Young Vrakish started questioning. If a chief can choose mercy, maybe they can too. Small changes at first, but growing. There is talk of reform, of reconsidering the caste system, of allowing mixed families. Hannah stared at him. Because of us? Because you showed me that protecting life, even when it breaks tradition, can be its own kind of honor. That message spread. Slowly, but it spread. He pulled out a datapad. A human diplomat named Soon Jae has opened official talks with the Empire. About peace. About cooperation. He says he was inspired by 3 young Vrakish who grew up in 2 worlds. Haniel, Hana said softly. She knew Soon Jae worked with her youngest son. The Empire is changing. Too slowly for some. Too fast for others. But changing. Kethril looked at the house where the cubs were laughing. They are the future. Not just Vrakish. Not just human. Both. Better. He stood to leave. At his ship, he turned back. I disobeyed orders for the first time in my life when I let you go. I thought I was choosing between honor and blood. But you taught me something, Hanakang. Sometimes the most honorable choice is the one that protects life. That values compassion over tradition. That chooses love over law. You chose to be their uncle instead of their executioner, Hana said. That took more courage than any battle. Kethril nodded. Raise them well. The galaxy needs more people like them. Like you. His ship lifted off into the night sky. 10 years later, Hana sat on the same porch. She was older now. Gray hair. Laugh lines around her eyes. The hoodie still hung by the door. A museum piece now. The fabric was delicate with age. Dal had become a combat instructor. He taught both Vrakish and human students, breaking down barriers 1 class at a time. Bol ran a medical clinic that served all species. She had saved countless lives and trained a new generation of doctors in compassionate care. Haniel worked with Soon Jae in the new Human Vrakish Alliance Council. He was young but respected. His voice brought both sides together. They visited often, bringing their own families now. Dal had married a human woman. Beol had partnered with another Vrakish doctor. Haniel was still single, but too busy changing the galaxy to worry about it. Hannah watched her grandchildren play in the yard. Some looked human. Some looked Vrakish. Some looked like both. All of them were beautiful. Mina sat beside her. Do you ever regret it? Everything you gave up? Hannah thought about it. She could never go back to human space officially. She was still technically a fugitive. But she had built a life here. A family. A community. No, Hannah said. Not even for a second. Inside the house, she heard Dal teaching his daughter to say grandma in Korean. The bull was showing her some pictures of the old serendipity. Haniel was telling his nieces and nephews the story of how Hannah saved 3 cubs in a hoodie. The story had become legend. The human who stole 3 Vrakish cubs and changed an empire. People told it in different ways. Some made Hannah a hero. Some made her a rebel. Some made her a fool. But Hannah knew the truth. She was just someone who could not walk away from crying babies. Someone who chose compassion over safety. Someone who believed that 3 small lives mattered more than politics or laws or ancient honor codes. She was just human. And that was enough. The sun set over the mountains. The house filled with laughter and love. The old hoodie hung by the door, a symbol of the day everything changed. The day humanity's stubborn, beautiful, irrational compassion proved stronger than an empire. 3 tiny paws changed the galaxy.